Well, hello, I'm Bob Dendry, this is Boring Guy Plays, and welcome back to Cities Skylines 2, where we are building Azure Delta. So we're starting off over here where we connected our light rail line to Washington Street to head over to what will hopefully be a new residential area in not too long. And I noticed this, I've got no idea what it is. It says Train Pillar Top 28. It looks like it might be a rail vehicle, maybe. And I don't know, I didn't really do anything like that last episode, so, and I also can't remove it either. I might need better bulldozer or something like that potentially. Honestly, I'm quite a fan of the work we did last episode, creating these nicer networks. They're not perfect, unfortunately. As you can see, there's some arguments at nodes and things like that. The game isn't really designed to have shoulders next to each other, which is part of the reason why this stuff is happening. I have some ideas about what might be able to fix that, but I want to experiment with it, so I'm not going to do it right now. I want to spend a fair amount of this episode on traffic, public transport, and then we're going to do a bit of development as well. So I'm starting off over here where we've got our giant hole in the ground, which is getting bigger? Maybe? Yeah, don't know. Okay, so I actually did have better bulldozer installed. I deleted them. I don't know what I was deleting, so hopefully it hasn't broken the entire game. But yeah, we've got rid of that little hole in the ground, which is good. Anyway, I wanted to start off at this intersection here. We're seeing, obviously, there's quite a bit of traffic going on here. And I think there's probably two things we could do here. I want to see if we could maybe have a short segment of this divided road so that we don't actually have a five-way intersection. That's first of all. Second of all, I want to see if we can boost the lane count coming in this direction. And we've actually installed the sim route highlighter as well. What we can do is actually select that and we can get an idea of where everyone's going. And I mean, to be fair, they're going a little bit everywhere. So what I think we'll, see if we can get a short segment, maybe about here or so, and we can see if we can sort of bend this around quite tightly and have it join back on. So let's use a little gravel road here just to create a new node. We'll use our convert tool here. We might need to quickly pause and remove that connection there, just for a few moments. We'll reconnect it. We can remove that now. And that might make it a little bit better. But we still need to add extra lanes, of course, because we've got shared lanes going in all directions here. I think we might actually boost it up to a 4-2, which seems to be my favorite type of road at the moment, doesn't it? Interestingly, it's wanting 2 dedicated rights, which I personally don't agree with. So we're not going to do it. We will use our lane connector tool to change that stuff around. Looks like we got a little bit of ugliness here as well, which I think we might be able to use Move It to try and fix it up. We can use the manipulation mode, I believe. Jig things around. I'll tell you what, all I've managed to do thus far is have trees grow through the road. Haven't fixed the tearage at all. And just made everyone a bit unhappy. Oh. Alright, we're going to pretend that didn't happen. Oh, also we got a rock. So, let's use our lane connector tool now. And see if we can fix this up a little bit. So we want a single right turn. Do we want just a single straight? No, let's try like so. See how we go with that. I wonder if we can squeeze another lane in here. If we... Yeah, why not? Unfortunately, we're going to have to redo all the stuff we've just done, but that's okay. All right, let's see how we go with that now. Next, we've got this intersection over here, which we did do a little bit of work with. We added some dedicated turning lanes, which appear to have had some impact. However, I think probably what we need to consider doing here is actually getting an alternate route around this sort of hill into our CBD, really via the university here. And we should be able to fairly simply follow the topography of the area to make that happen. At least I think we should be able to. Of course, we do have quite a steep sort of hill, so we need to keep that in mind. We'll need to go partially up the mountain in this area here, but that's okay because the topography isn't too bad. So I think what we can potentially do, we just need to pick what we're going to, probably here where we've got our intersection, I would say. So if we grab that level and just sort of punch it out a little bit, and it looks like we are on this major contour and probably out around that sort of far. Actually, we probably don't want to go all the way around because then it's going to make the hill climb a little bit trickier or almost impossible. So we probably want to go to about here or so, I would expect. We can start around about here or so. And let's... No. Always doing that. Always doing that. My favorite thing to do is to not select the right tool and stuff things up. So let's see how we can go in terms of getting... It looks like we've got still a fair amount of contour, so we might take it a little bit further back. And then how are we going to get to this spot? Quite. We might actually need to sort of break off around here or so. I wonder if we could just gradient around the entire hill. Is that going to work? Maybe. I'm not sure, to be honest. Let's see what we can do here. I'm going to use our continuous curve tool. Now let's just take stock. How does this look? It's all right. There's some bits we can probably tidy up a little bit, but it's not too bad, to be honest. Use our simple curve tool to try and hook in here. Ooh. Need to take it out a little bit further. All right. And then we can maybe actually get a roundabout in here. I think it probably makes sense right now. And we need to connect it up here. We'll try and get it at a 90. Alrighty, so we've got a second access route there. I'm going to try and smooth out the wanton destruction I've wrought on the environment here. Overall, I think it's alright. We're still seeing some quite ridiculous amounts of passengers waiting at some of our stops, which I've actually worked out now how to actually check the stops. You need to look at your circles, and how coloured in they are determines how many people are waiting there. We've got some, as you can see, some quite significant amounts of passengers waiting to board, which is, once again, it's great to see everyone wants to use public transport. It's not great that we don't really have the capacity to deal with it. So we've got 74% line usage in the L3 Katara line. It doesn't seem right. It seems like we're probably over capacity, but I suppose in some areas... Oh, not enough electricity. Hang on. Come back to this. Okay. Why? Our station overload. Electricity bottleneck over here. And a transformer. Over here as well. I'm guessing because that is a low power or a low voltage line. So it seems like we might need to get a few more transformers around the place, doesn't it? And that's okay. You live and you learn, right? So probably we can aim to get some transformers in our more built-up areas. Because those are, I guess, the areas you'd probably expect to see, like substations and things like that. Our university would definitely have one as well. Got one over here as well. I'm pretty sure our solar plant has a built-in one. We may want to try and get some high voltage lines on the other side. Ooh, it's snowing. Other side of our power plant. Other side of our motorway, I should say. I wonder if we could fit them. I'm going to say probably not. Apparently we've got some snapping on here. Well... actually working, you know. We just need to be quite careful and methodical about how we're placing them. Our ramps become an issue, but we can probably just go around them, really, couldn't we? Why is it still snapping when I've turned off all snapping? Alright, so we've got another transformer there. No change yet. build a underground high voltage connection to our university. Okay, that seems to have solved some problems. Should we also connect these two transformers together, potentially? For some, I guess, redundancy in the network. It looks like we're okay now. And all it took was building these giant electricity towers that people are not going to be happy about that live here, I would suggest. So we were looking at the L3 Katara line. Our line usage is actually increasing. And again. So potentially we might need just to get 12 out of 12 on here, at least for the moment. Unfortunately, we don't have any other vehicles we can use at this time. It might be nice to have some longer light rail vehicles, but yeah, it's just not going to be possible with what's available right now. Of course, once the asset editor releases, hopefully we'll see some new assets coming out, and potentially as well we might also see Colossal Order also release some different tram assets as well, as they've done with the trains. Our L2 University line, how are we looking there? That's, to be honest, fairly lightly utilized. We might actually reduce the number of vehicles on there. It seems like at least some of our problem here is that our L3 Katara line trams are actually full by the time they're getting around. So where do we have some? That's a city loop tram, isn't it? Yeah. L3 Katara, it's empty. I think this is the first stop, isn't it? And it's like, what? Wow. And are these people just wanting to go to Katara? Could we set them up a bus, maybe? A bus route that goes maybe via Blackbird Square or something like that. There's just a lot of people wanting to go to Katara, isn't there? What I'm thinking we might do, we will get a new bus route set up. We might have it starting probably a little bit further into the city, maybe at our crematorium medical clinic, head through Blackbird Square, and then we'll create a new road connection over the top of our rail line. It will, I guess, sort of go through our Katara built-up area, high school, and then maybe terminate at our cemetery. That might encourage people to use different routes or different modes of transport if it's going to suit them better. But yeah, we'll have to see. I'm not sure if this is going to work or not. All right, there we go. And we're already seeing some vehicles using this. So hopefully that's not being used as like a rat run for people to jump off the motorway here and then turn around and go up here. Although I suppose it doesn't really matter that much. But we are going to disable right turns from Pearl Street. Yeah. Might see if we can maybe get like a bus lane in here to shoot through, and otherwise just only allow left turns here. Maybe do the same thing here as well. Let's see what we can do. So we'll grab a bus lane, put it in the middle. We will reverse the direction. Perfect. I'm going to call this 3-lane road. And we'll do the same over here. Yep, perfect. We might actually need to change the alignment a little bit, won't we? Oh. And we'll fix that ugliness as well. All right, there we go. Of course, we do see regular cars using the bus lane, unfortunately, which happens. We want no right turn here as well. All right, time to get this bus set up and see if we can make it run, yeah, a little bit nicer. We're going to need a bus stop on the other side of the road here as well, right? No, I was for some reason thinking on the right for whatever reason. All right, let's see if we can get this set up. So we'll be beginning over here by our crematorium and medical facility at the station. Then we sort of run a little bit express over the bridge. I've actually forgotten some bus stops that I wanted to add in here. So I'll quickly fix that up now. And then once we get to where our other bus terminates, we're actually going to continue it on to our cemetery. So it's a little bit roundabout, as you can see. Hopefully this will give our citizens, you know, some further options around how they're getting around the city. Yes, I actually do need to add an extra stop. Okay, we'll complete the line. Can we add one there as well? I don't think we can we? So we'll need to have it like down the road a little bit. And I did notice a few funky things going on with our wayfinding, so we will add a few waypoints here and there just to fix that up. Other than that, looks all right. Okay. Yeah, we'll just, I guess, need to wait and see what sort of impact that's going to have. I can tell you we've already got a few people waiting at our bus stop at the bridge in either direction, in fact. So, this might be what we need here. We do have a lot of people needing ambulances over here, though. It doesn't look like we have a clinic in this area, so we might be able to sneak that in where we've got some room reserved. Oh, no, it looks like we can't. We'll need to get a small clinic in. Hope for the best. In future, we might have to redevelop that, however. What I'm not liking, however, is that our new connection across the rail line has actually shifted a lot of traffic off our motorway and onto this sort of large collector road. So I'm going to need to keep a close eye on that to make sure that we don't have this happening permanently, or Potentially it could just be traffic stabilizing, working out what it actually wants to do, which I have noticed the game does do this a little bit. So I'm going to leave it for the moment, but we might need to try and change people's preferences a little bit if we're continuing to see this sort of mass backup. It's a very short winter in this part of the world, isn't it? I mean, I'm sort of basing this off Australia, which we don't have, you know, snow in 99% of the places. So they should just be happy they're getting snow at all, shouldn't they? Now, I did mention at the end of the last episode that we might consider getting some further development in the Park Heights area. Obviously, the pollution in this area is completely gone. It's been remediated. And the new sort of public transport backbone we've got with that dedicated light rail line coming through does give us a good opportunity to increase the density here, I think. We're going to need to do a little bit of grading, but I think overall it looks pretty decent. It's, you know, fairly, once again, use the wrong brush, but it's fairly smooth. It's not too dramatic, any of the grades around here, so I think we should be able to feed in quite a bit of new higher density development. It's going to be fairly targeted though. We don't want too much going on here. Because it is a bit of a signature part of the city, I feel anyway, the sort of more targeted development we'd be able to get in here. But definitely we should be able to get in some more on Washington Street, and we might be able to push a little bit of medium density towards Bedford Terrace as well. We can probably develop some backing onto the light rail line as well. Looking pretty decent. They're remaining fairly flat, which is good. It's what we want to see. And we might just get a few low rent housing buildings in here as well. That'll also help, of course, with a college being here as well. Overall, it's looking pretty decent. We're not having much cliff textures at all, to be honest. It's looking pretty good. A little bit down here, but we can smooth that out fairly easily. And I think what I might do is punch through just a 2-lane road here. Just to give us another sort of few plots that we can develop there. We might be dropping down to medium density, I would say, on this, I guess, half of the road. We might need to relay a few of these paths, just so we can clean up the gradients. I wonder if we could connect up Mulberry Street with Sunnyside Street just for some additional interconnectivity. Might be able to be honest. Not bad. What we might do is put some key walls onto this lower half here. I don't think we need the retaining wall. We might get rid of that. We can do that. Apparently we might not be able to. Oh, actually it does look pretty bad. Hang on. I'm redoing this. We can use our slope terrain tool to fix that up nice and good. Okay, that is nicer. And we will get the retaining wall in. Okay, pretty decent connection. A bit weird, perhaps, but I think it works reasonably well. That does cut off one of the pedestrian connection I was hoping to make, but that is okay. It's manageable. The other thing I've actually been considering doing is turning this into a key wall as well, and allowing us to sort of flatten out this land a little bit more and get some further housing in over here as well. I think it just overall looks a lot better as well. And we should be able to establish a nice pad here, I think. Maybe this contour here. Is that a pipe by any chance? Yes, it is. I think we just relayed that, so great. But fixed. Though I'm not sure exactly how the water pipes went up into the underside of the bridge. That doesn't seem to make much sense to me. And we can probably flatten out a little bit on this side as well, can't we? They've got a little bit of room to work with, not a massive amount. But it should allow us to expand the city just a little tiny bit. So we're going to get in just a sort of a mini grid down here. It's only going to be a few blocks worth. We might try and make this a little bit unusual in terms of the orientation as well. And the access to this is actually going to be under this road bridge. I think this contour should do it. Perfect. And we might see... We might need to just extend this a little tiny bit, and we're going to have a road heading under the bridge as well. Or we could just take the bridge back a little bit as well. And we might just be able to get just a tiny bit of grid in here if we relay this a tiny bit so we get a more sort of straight shot. Like so. And that might allow us to... Yeah, once again, just a tiny bit of gridding. We actually need a road there. Can't forget that. We might manually grid this out, in fact. I said manually grid it out, and then I didn't manually grid it out. There's some odd stuff going on here, which you can absolutely tell. I think I'm liking it. I'm liking having sort of maintaining the dedicated tram access through here. And we might even be able to get a unique building. Well, that's a very large building, isn't it? That doesn't fit anywhere that we're developing today. So I'm wondering, do we want to continue going with the high density? Do we maybe want to have this medium? Probably. maybe have a little bit of row housing backing onto the river and back here potentially. We can try and keep that reasonably neat and tidy. Yep, I think that's pretty good. Can we not use the full available land? Thank you very much. And over here we might go back to the high density. Can we fix this zoning grid using our grid tool, however? Not really, I've done it wrong. That's okay. It might be good to get an amenity on this side because it's closer to a more noxious use, I guess you could say, with the tram depot being there. And we might be able to sneak in a little bit of commercial, which we actually are lacking in a little bit, to be honest. Apparently we don't have any need for it right now. Oh yeah, there you go. It's draining right now, isn't it? I'm really liking, though, that even amongst this, you know, sort of escalating development in the Parker Heights area, we still got all these green belts. And I probably try and capitalize on those. I'm actually changed my mind on that bit of development there. We might pull back a couple of zoning squares there. Just so we can maintain sort of, you know, path connectivity through this area, which I think will just allow it to still have, I guess, some callbacks to nature, I guess you could say. We might even build a little bridge over this. Yeah. It'd be nicer if it was flat. I think I might actually increase the amount of trees we have in this area, just so we've got that continuing sort of nature connection. Another thing I'm noticing is that as we're building up this area here at Parker Heights a little bit more, this SPUI is absolutely suffocating. And it's, I guess looking at the sort of setup we've got here, we don't really have any other way to get to this area. There's literally just this SPUI. Of course, we've got the highway that runs, you know, pretty much all the way through. So you could, I guess, come off over here. Doesn't look like anyone is, as you can see. But yeah, we probably actually need to get another interchange, I'd expect. Either running through Blue Gum Hills or running through Wallaby Island. I think Blue Gum Hills is going to be easier. Of course, we do have, you know, another motorway connection in quite close proximity. So what we might want to do is to have sort of a combined, I guess, service system interchange where you can get from the Lafayette/Valley Highway into here without having to switch onto the motorway proper. And we've got some ramps and stuff here that we sort of just left here because, you know, there was no need at the time. to get rid of them, but we will get rid of those now. We're also going to need to get rid of this old siding that we had in place when the trains were going to the port over here. So instead, what we'll do, we'll need to upgrade Empire Street to a collector. Of course, we're going to have to shift some objects over here, as we've been doing as of late, just moving things around, which once again, not the most realistic thing to do. But it's okay. It's fine. We play the game how we want to play the game, right? So yeah, this will pop up to just a 2+2 road. And we might do a trumpet for our service interchange, I think. We just need to work out what we're going to do over here. If we even want to do that, or if we just have... We might as well just have the service interchange, and if there's a need to have a direct connection to our other motorway, we can do that. We might just maintain potentially like a 3-lane between the two interchanges, which should hopefully limit you know, any damage done by this new connection. Of course, this is going to be quite a rise, isn't it? But it looks like it works. It's not too bad, actually. Where we're going to have an issue is coming off the bridge, because we can't build connections to the bridge. Which means we might need to do a bit of a corkscrew if we're going to connect up here. Actually, we can't upgrade that, can we? This is going to be more difficult than I thought it would be, if I'm not mistaken, unless... Actually, it's not going to be ideal, but we can just bend this around, can't we? Alright, we need to find a bit of a higher. Yeah, that's probably alright. What's that? Pathfinding failed. Oh no. Oh yeah, I remember we had a bus route that went there, didn't we? Fixed. Alright, so this might be a little bit unusual, and there's probably a much easier way to do this. Obviously, right? But then there's me, and I just do things ways that are not necessarily smart. So what I'm actually going to do... I'm actually going to make this just a highway. We'll connect up our ramps. Much better. And then what I'm going to do... I might actually turn these into key walls. Possibly we need to do that on the inside as well. And then rather than the sort of crossing bit going in the middle, we'll actually have it go around the outside. Megalopolis, it's the last one. I'm just going to skip past that because I'm trying to... make this look decent, and it's not working for me so far. And we're actually coming in way too close anyway, so we're going to have to go around the other way. This is going to be a very short joining lane, which I'm not necessarily a fan of, but otherwise it's just going to be a bit ridiculous, isn't it? Don't like it. That side's okay. We might have to just shift that a little tiny bit. To make it a little bit nicer. All right. Aside from needing to pull out some trees, I think we're looking pretty good now. Cool. And we are starting to see some cars using this new trumpet. Got double French horn going on here. Is this like a French horn? I don't know. It's a bit of a weird situation we've got going on here in any case. But hopefully it works. And that is certainly not going to be any good for your traffic either. Looks like we've maybe got an ambulance and the police coming up, but that's obviously also going to be part of the reason why the traffic's held up. But that is going to be about all we've got time for in this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've certainly enjoyed making it. And I reckon next episode, Wallaby Island is going to be where it's at. If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure you give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you get a ding to your device the next time I post a video. You can find links to my social media in the description, so please jump on there, like, follow, subscribe, do all of that wonderful stuff. Big shout out to my Founders Club patron, Caleb. Caleb, thank you so much for helping to make this content possible. If you want to help out at home, you can do so popping onto patreon.com/BobDendry. Become a member of the YouTube channel, or you can also leave just a super thanks on this video as a one-off thanks for the content. But until next time, I'm Bob Dendry. This is Cities Skylines 2. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.